Yeah, he's very he can talk somewhat fluidly actually.
That's amazing.
And yeah, spawning in the top left-hand side, it is for Cranky Ducklings, Erik.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
That's about as far as my Portuguese can go. In the bottom right side of Curious Minds, we are looking at the main base of the 6th time back-to-back champion, trying to make it 7 in a row. This is Juanito SpeCial. Is it common for people in Mexico to also speak Portuguese? Because I didn't think that was that common.
Not that much, but there is a lot of overlap between Spanish and Portuguese. Like they're very similar languages, so it's like if I can listen to a conversation in Portuguese, I can pick up on a lot of stuff that they're saying, and vice versa. So you know, it's not the most difficult language to adopt.
I see. I'm still impressed though. I didn't know, because I guess his Korean is also quite decent after all these years in Korea. Pretty sure that Juanito knows quite a bit of Korean. That man speaks everything. Well, what's next? He's going to talk to me in Dutch the next time I see him? I'm going to be freaking out, mate.
How is Kelasor's Dutch? Does he know any words now?
Yeah.
Because Kelasor's, okay, like Kelasor then beats Juanito probably, because he knows Portuguese, tiny bit of Spanish, Chinese, I think he speaks.
His Dutch is getting along nicely. Last time in Poland, he was talking Dutch to Harstem and me a little bit, couple words here, couple words there. It's very funny because he knew a couple of very complicated things, and I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed. But then he didn't know some very common everyday words like going to the supermarket, and we have a Dutch term for it, boodschappen doen. And he's like, what does that mean? And we're like, okay.
Was it slang?
No, not really. It's definitely something that I figured he would have heard by now, but maybe he doesn't buy his own groceries. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. All right.
Curious Minds is going to be our first battleground. Did Erik do anything fancy? I was just mesmerized by the fact that Juanito speaks Portuguese. Everything was kind of standard in the way that he went about it, correct?
Correct. I was also mostly mesmerized with the fact that Juanito speaks Portuguese, but this game looks pretty normal.
Couple of Zerglings sneaking into the National. The Marines are... Wait, this is actually very bad for Juanito. Look at where the Marines are. The Marines are making their way towards a bunker. Now, obviously, if that bunker goes up, it's nice, but these two links are causing a little bit of a delay on this command center. Nice SCV micro. Man, how are SCVs this powerful? Can he get an SCV go? I think he can. That's a dead SCV. But why is only one link putting in all the work? Yeah, that's because one link was blocking the other link from attacking.
Yeah, and those links, I mean, when you're killing SCVs, making anything with drones or links, you want to shift click them a bunch of times, because otherwise they kind of derp. So you want your units to be on the command over and over. Erik didn't do that, and as a result doesn't stop the CC from Juanito. But he was pretty lucky, we'll say, to get those in unscouted, right? Because the Marines kind of moved out at the perfect time for those links to do anything.
Is it luck, though, if he has practiced this over and over and over again? We've got 3 Marines inside of the bunker, but this is more than enough links, and with the 2 Queens, we're going to be okay. Hellion is going to try to bring the fight to the Queen. That's not a fight that the Hellion is going to win. And Juanito should see now, it's like, holy smokes, that's a lot of links you're making on early. And Juanito does not have a wall yet. He's going to immediately start working on the wall. Will that wall be up in time? I don't know. We need another building, and he doesn't have anything to build. Oh, yeah, no, the links are going to get in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he didn't have anything to build with, is the big problem there. The SCV was not, you know, he had an extra mule, but now the SCV pops up a little bit too late. All of these Marines are gonna die, and that's an excellent start for Erik. He also doesn't overcommit.
No, this is really sick. He's gonna kill most of the SCVs on the low ground, if not all of them. There is a tank right now, so let's move away a couple of those links. We don't need to lose all of these links. And this is a phenomenal start for Erik. Well done.
Absolutely, and yeah, that SCV should have been cancelled, and one should have started after the fact. This SCV should still get cancelled. The CC is gonna, I mean, maybe doing him a favor by keeping attacking the CC, because that SCV otherwise might have finished again. That would have been another dead SCV to add to the tally. But beautiful job from Erik, because he doesn't overcommit either, right? Like, he only made those links, and that was it, and they did plenty. So now he is 40 workers to 27.
Yep.
Not where you
get in again though. Like, sure, there is a tank, but the tank doesn't cover everything in the natural. So one more SCV falls. We don't want to throw away all these links, but Yeah, what a start, man. 14 worker advantage for Erik. And it's not like SpeCial has double eBay and Stim is done. No, it's just tanks and a couple of Marines that don't have Stim or combat shield. I mean, I don't want to use the cliche like if we're ever going to win a game, this is it. But it's hard to get a start much better than this one, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. No. I think at this point, if the scales were even, this is like an 80 or 90% one game for Erik. I think seeing the names, it's maybe a 50-50 still, but Erik in a fantastic position, no doubt.
SpeCial dropping a little bit there with the medevac, flying back in range with the queens. There's still 2 queens waiting for it in the main. Erik is starting to produce the roaches, but he does have double evo chamber. I think it's mostly just safety roaches, but he doesn't have too much to worry about. I highly doubt that SpeCial is going to move out with 3 tanks and 7 Marines that don't have any upgrades at all. 0.
Right. Yeah, and for that, his 30C is awfully late, actually. So maybe, maybe a little bit of an inconsistent, uncharacteristic move from here from Juanito, because at least he could have started the CC earlier if he was going to stay defensive. And it feels like his only option is to stay defensive, but he's going to move out. And this is on the crazy side of things.
I guess if the roaches are slow, yeah, then it's going to be fine. But these speedy roaches, man, they can absolutely get on top of these tanks. This is a pretty crazy move out because we end up losing all the tanks. I guess the medevacs will always be there to some degree to maybe save some of them.
What is
Here are the tanks. There's so little micro potential in this Terran R because these Marines have nothing.
Yeah. Oh, Erik, no, what? Loses a queen with 2 transfuses available. These 2 queens might be exposed now. They needed to tuck themselves way back until those Ravagers are ready, then reinforce. He's reinforcing with roaches, which I think is a little slow, but once those are out, he should have the clear here. I would have much rather seen Lynx.
4 tanks and a Liberator and 1 medevac trying to keep a couple of these Marines safe. Erik has a bunch of Lynx on the way, gets in range of the tanks again though. Erik needs to make sure that once he gets in range, he's actually willing to fully send it, and that's what he does right now. Corrosive balls are going to go down on the Liberator. Did he miss? No, he did not miss. Well done. Good cleanup.
Yeah, good cleanup. And now, even after this and after not having, the cleanest execution there from Erik, he is miles ahead in terms of supply. Still 40 or 61 workers to 48. So Juanito catching back up on that regard, but it's going to be very difficult for Juanito to hold a 3rd base.
And look at the army supply, man. 56 against 20. Erik with a 50 supply lead in this game. And after SpeCial just lost all those tanks, right now we're going to have to try to take this base with 0 tanks. And then these roaches and Ravagers are actually going to be very annoying too, because the Marines, they may have Stim in the near future, but they won't have combat shield for quite some time. And there is also still only a single medevac out. I mean, if he's ever going to do it, mate, this is definitely the game. And this is Curious Minds as well. Imagine if Erik wins his best of 3. You got to be molding so hard if you're Jim Rising or X, because then you have to play SpeCial in the lower bracket match.
That would be terrible, yeah. I think right now Erik probably just needs to clear those rocks in the middle. He is still droning up. At some point, he has to decide to stop and just, I think, max out on roaches or get close to maxing out on roaches. Maybe hit a timing with those two upgrades and the links that he's making. But yeah, I think one of the only ways that he loses this game is not utilizing his advantage right now. He has a good army advantage, and somehow he is the one that's getting, that's playing defensively against a SpeCial that has no business being out on the map.
Oh, spot on, because he's building spore crawlers and stuff too. That is defensive play. And going up to Hive, sure, it may be fine. And if this wasn't Erik against SpeCial, we'd be like, oh yeah, this Orc is doing the right thing. He's just getting further ahead. But I kind of feel like if you have an opponent that is a sizable favorite on the ropes, I'd say pedal to the metal, man. Get those 1-1 roach upgrades instead of going for melee upgrades. Just keep spreading creep and never stop sending roaches and ravages towards the bottom side of the map. And then once you have him contained on 2 bases, you can always sneak out a few extra drones. We're gonna go for a little roach run by, but this one doesn't seem super successful. Gets 1 tank though. I don't think he's gonna get the second one. The repair is pretty good.
It's gonna be close. Here comes, Juanito's just trying to buy time on the other side of the map, and he is able to, but yeah, that 3rd is illegal. He really has no business taking that. I mean, Erik really had so much army that he could have just sat on the bottom of the ramp of SpeCial, and the SpeCial should not have been ever allowed to take it. Now we're getting to a point where if SpeCial gets a 4th and so on, okay, finally, he's gonna attack. He has he should be able to close this out here. He's getting an ult for them, though.
I mean, if we get a little bit of a Sim City going, it's 95 supply against 67. Let's see how good that Marine Micro will be. There are quite a few Banelings in the mix, but the Banelings are quite clumped up. Now Banelings are connecting with the bio units. That is very back. Erik still looking to just kind of close it out indeed. A lot of the SCVs are not able to make it home. Most of the Marines have gone down. Erik with the upset here, 1-0 lead. Yes, it is. GG. Wow, and look at Juanito. He's just smiling about it. He's like, well, that happened.
Yeah. I mean, just a completely terrible start for Juanito there. So Erik closes it out, but it was even in that attack, it was sloppy, right? Like it's a lot of the Banelings going through little chokes, not really connecting with anything. The SCVs not really connecting. At the very end, they connect, but it's just because there's so many of them. Some of them had to connect, right? He comes in from a single angle. Like, that's why I was saying, if he breaks the middle of the map, he has a much shorter route, and he can come from multiple angles, and that's much easier to just collapse onto the army to find those connections. Not the case, but it's enough just by sheer virtue of being as far ahead as he was.
Historically, it is 26-1 in favor of SpeCial between these two players. The one victory wasn't ultra long ago. It was in an Exxon Cup round of 4. Erik got a 2-1 victory over SpeCial on the 3rd of March 2021. So a little over a year ago. 26-1 in series. He gets it. I mean, he doubles his lifetime career win rate over Juanito. That's big.
That is huge. I mean, the way in which it happened is not replicable, though, right? Like, we have to say that. Those first 2 links go in and find an exposed command center that they should have never found. Delays a little bit Juanito. Not something that he'll find again unless he gets extremely lucky. And then we have the second wave of random links, which should be completely answered. But Juanito didn't have the extra SCV on the low ground. It's not that he didn't see it coming. It's not that he didn't have the money. He just didn't have an extra SCV. If he has that SCV, you know, there's a wall off.
What he could have done is actually drop a building, cancel building, and then start a new building, and then buy some time. I actually think that would have been the right way to crisis save that, but I guess Juanito thought he had that extra second for that SCV to come from the main base and create the full wall up on the low ground, but wasn't quite able to do so. And then the floodgates were open and the pain never really stopped. Let's see what Glittering Ashes bring us, as we are on the verge of a potential very big upset here in Latin American StarCraft. It's, of course, only the upper bracket match, so even if this goes wrong for this man, he is still in it, and he will still most likely make it into the playoffs. But it would give us something to talk about. Top right side, representing Storm Gaming, down 0-1. It is SpeCial.
And in the bottom left-hand side, I'm not sure what god he's praying to, but I want to pray to that one too. It's Erik.
You know what was kind of cool is that he did have Hive Tech, and he even dropped the Ultralisk Cavern 2 there. So it wasn't like, this is it, it's now or never. No, this was kind of like, all right, I've got a lot of stuff. You don't really have all that much stuff. I'm going to see what I can get done, but I will have another attack, and that one will be better with even more upgraded units and perhaps some more high-tech units as well. But yeah, sick, well done. And he looked pumped up too.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to look at that though, right? Because is that cool or is that anti-cool? Because it's also an investment that he didn't need to make that could have translated into more units in a game where he should have absolutely won no matter what if he attacks that third. You spend your money with the advantage that you've created for yourself. That third is not allowed. It should have never been. So you know, like, yeah, he was accounting for the game to continue, but the game should have never continued. And I feel like that, you know, like the Ultra Cavern, the Hive, like that's an investment that could have, in a different universe, in a slightly better prepared, closer game, maybe lost him the game.
What is this? Oh my goodness. We're going to build a hatchery on the other side of the map.
I love
But it's not the natural, so it's not going to be ultra obvious. Will the Reaper go towards the left? Beyonce made a song about this. The Reaper does not go to the left. Mate, this is crazy.
Wait, what song is that?
To the left, to the left. Everything you look for in a box to the left.
All right. Well, I love this from Erik, I gotta say.
In the closet, that's my stuff. If I bought it, please don't touch. All right, he found it though. So, SpeCial looked in the closet and he found a hatchery. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't buy that one, but I do want to take care of it.
Yeah, this Overlord will survive. It's low enough that I think it's worth. Oh,
What?
okay.
No!
That's annoying.
That's
So the
rough as
Overlord
well.
will not survive. Yeah, would have forced a lift off, I think, of the CC at that point because it was low enough that it only takes a second. But that's, you know, that still would be better than not.
Catch you the
Circlings
expert
again.
here.
These are magical circlings.
Yeah, Reaper halfway through, turns around again, goes all the way back home. So what are we looking for here, Erik? Like, just links cannot really be it. Are we just gonna spam links? Try to go. Okay, roaches, never mind. There's a roach worn down, but he's making link speed too. So it's just everything all out. We're gonna send it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna send it at least enough to block or try to delay the CC on the low ground. So you're gonna all in to try to get SpeCial to go on his high ground. You're not gonna be able to breach the high ground, but if you can spread creep, he's already making that queen, then you can block the expansion from being taken for long enough that you get ahead economically. For the time being, SpeCial's gonna be ahead economically, so you definitely have to swing momentum first in your favor, then look for that advantage.
I like the links though, because the defense here is a Cyclone. That Cyclone could get surrounded. And if it gets surrounded, the rest is really not all that good anymore. It's not like there is a super safe tank on the high ground. This is it. SpeCial is sending his Reaper and his Hellion to the other side of the map. We'll find a couple of drones there. If the target fire is good, he should be able to kill a few. But imagine if we surround that Cyclone before the medevac is out. There we go. We go for the Cyclone. No, he lets it go. He wants to get the bunker first. Did lose a Ravager there, I believe, so a little bit of his micro. The medevac could save it. Oh my god, the SV repair is so good.
Good enough to take the bunker, though. That's decent. The medevac is not fast enough here. We'll evacuate the Cyclone and whatever CVs are left here. But remember, Erik has already started spreading the creep forward, so his plan here is to get the lift off. Both of those Cyclones fall with good micro, good target fire from Juanito, but it's still looking like this lift off is a possibility here.
Yeah, but I wish we would have just committed like 3 or 4 Zerglings to that Cyclone, man. We would have actually killed the Cyclone, and then it'd be very awkward. Now that Cyclone is just going to get free pickoff after free pickoff. Do probably want to lift that orbital for a split second, Juanito. We are supply blocked anyway. Not needed.
He's going to want to at some point. I guess he's just using it to tank for him. Now the Cyclone does almost fall, but Juanito saves it. Very important piece, like you were saying, because that's the unit that it doesn't need to expose itself and then just runs back to tank cover. The Queen will fall, so will this Roach, and if Juanito doesn't need to lift off, it's gonna be lights out.
Yeah, I mean, Erik obviously does have, unlike Bly, a normal hatchery on the other side of the map. So whenever he's squeezing out a couple of drones, it's okay, because these are actually drones he can put to good use. These creep tumors are going to be very annoying. One scan is kind of mandatory here for SpeCial. He sees one of the active tumors, but he's not in time to snipe it. And at this point, he obviously has sacrificed the Reaper and the Hellion. So SpeCial is in the dark. He doesn't know if there is a second wave, a third wave. This Liberator is going to give him some information, and I don't know where the Queen is, but it's not where it's supposed to be. Move the Queen. Let's not lose a Queen to the lip. Oh, unlucky with the drones there, though. Really unlucky. Jeez.
Yeah, another Queen is going to come to help here. I do love the way that Erik is kind of readjusting his plan, right? Like the idea there was, I'm going to make you lift your CC. He almost was able to. If he killed that Cyclone, like you said, I think he would have been able to. And then you creep the expansion, and then you have a massive advantage with the droning that he's done. Instead, he recognizes that the CC won't be lifted, so he reroutes the creep to block the third instead. That means SpeCial's at least going to have to spend an extra scan there. So Erik with smart plays, but he's super far behind now.
Yeah, losing a lot of mining time now to that single Liberator. We are going to try to sneak a Spire out. You know, it was also, I guess Erik was getting a little excited, right? Because you're like, oh my god, this is it? Am I going to beat SpeCial over here? But he ran the Ravagers in the range of the bunker immediately. And he ended up losing one of the Ravagers while the bunker was still pretty full in HP. That was a little bit sloppy, right? Like losing Lynx is one thing, losing a Roach or morphing a Roach into a Ravager could be a play. But he just lost a full HP Ravager, and it's a very expensive unit to lose to just a couple of Marines in the bunker.
Yeah, it tanked with Ravager when he had a rogue, right, sadly. And I think it's because he was focused on the Ling micro to try and catch the Cyclone, but he doesn't catch the Cyclone and then brings back the Lynx to kill the bunker, but you're already working with -1 Ravager at that point. So, yeah, a little bit rough. Still, yeah, I'm completely with you, though. If he had just found that Cyclone, his life is so much easier because, you know, there's nothing back. You can just position away from the tank, but you can't position away from the tank and the Cyclone.
Exactly. That Cyclone has crazy micro potential, and in the hands of someone like Juanito, you know he's going to get a lot of value out of it, and he's going to make his own defense a lot easier. At this point, it looks pretty dire for Erik. Mutas are obviously not the unit that can come out right now and be like, wow, then SpeCial's in trouble, because SpeCial already has 31 Marines, and this time around they do have Stim, so these Marines are feisty. And, yeah, I feel like we are a minute away from this game just ending, because I look at that army in the center of the map and I wonder, how on earth are we ever going to stop that army? With a couple of mutas? I do not believe it's going to happen. That Liberator, by the way, is still getting a couple of kills too.
Yeah, being annoying will force the Muta to reveal, and that's going to be green light for SpeCial to just be like, oh, you made Muta. Yeah, those can't fight this army at all, right? Like, ideally, the Muta get out, and like you said, if there's a surprise enough and they can cross the map, then they can maybe keep SpeCial on his side. But once SpeCial is out and ready to fight, those Muta are just completely useless. And yeah, I mean, it was close, and I did love the approach from Erik, trying to sneak out a win, right? Like, he already got a difficult victory against SpeCial, and this was the way to make it into a chaotic game, a game where SpeCial is maybe not as comfortable, a shorter game potentially where, you know, you can't afford to play the longest game against a player that's just straight up better, because he's gonna outpace you at every corner. So I love the approach. It almost worked out, but it didn't.
Yeah, just taking another look at that first attack. And this felt that Erik got a bit excited. First, the Roach runs ahead of the party. Then the Ravager tanks all the shots of the bunker. All the Lings chase the Cyclone. Then no Lings. Well, he left one Ling on the Cyclone. Yeah, that was obviously not quite good enough. Shame. Close. Would have been a pretty epic upset.
It would have been pretty epic. And yeah, I saw a couple of people in the chat comment about how the hatchery was spotted. And the hatchery is not, it's fine if it gets spotted in that position, because the attack that Erik was going for is committed and it's really strong. So, you know, you want the proximity of the hatchery to make those Ravagers a little bit faster. It is a long map, so in that sense, it's fine if it gets spotted. It's just, yeah, you're not playing to surprise your opponent as much as you're playing to break the natural base there.
Like, I think you don't want it to get scouted immediately, but by the time that SpeCial saw it, it was like more than halfway through. So sure, it gave SpeCial some time to prepare, but then there are still different things to prepare for. And I had the feeling that he was just expecting Roaches and Ravages, and I don't think he was necessarily expecting all those Lings to show up. Because yeah, if those Lings around the Cyclone before that medevac is out, maybe there would have been some potential. Obviously, Erik cannot just win the game because he doesn't have the army to just bust into the main base. But then he would be able to get pretty far economically ahead with that hatchery he has on his side of the map. So, well, fun idea. Creative gaming, Cat. You and I can both appreciate that.
We love that. So good job from Erik. We'll see if he can bring some more creativity here. He's certainly going to need it for Brazil and Crankly Ducklings. It is Erik.
And in the bottom left side, still representing Psystorm Gaming. A long time ago, this man used to change teams all the time. He's been with Psystorm for quite a while now, and that makes me very happy. This is the 6th time back-to-back champ. It is SpeCial.
I would also know all about that. We once had an announcement for when he joined Root, and the announcement's title was 4th time is the charm.
and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah, no, but he's been with them for, I want to say, at least 3 years now, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's been with the same name as well for a very long time. So we definitely have to start giving credit to Juanito for kind of just sticking with it, right? Like being comfortable in his own skin, and perhaps less problematic, less troublesome, because in the past he's been somewhat controversial from time to time, and now, you know, he's really getting his shit together. He's going to the gym as well, in the best shape that he's been in a very long time. So yeah, lots of props to be giving to the Mexican rockstar here.
Controlling an air conditioning unit while playing a game of StarCraft, by the looks of it. That man is just popping up.
Yeah, look at his room too. Mighty tidy.
Yeah, it looks nice. I don't know what the paintings are. I can't really see this from here, but are they StarCraft related? Or
well, let's say yes.
I believe it. All right. 2K Atmosphere is obviously a pretty standard map. This is where we see a lot of straight up normal play. And Erik is absolutely capable of playing just a lovely little ZVT straight up. But his tempo is different than from other Zergs, and that doesn't mean that he's always all in or he's always committed. He just likes to make a few more units in a phase in the game where you don't normally expect it, but he's got a lot of experience with that. And because of that, he can confuse his opponent, he can find little victories here and there, and he can make all of that worthwhile. So I'm curious to see where he's going to go this time around, showing us two completely different games so far. And yeah, I kind of hope for the upset now, man. 26-1 is a little bit brutal, but 26-2, that just sounds a whole lot better.
It sure does. Yeah, and Juanito respecting also the opponent and the state, right? He doesn't have really any games to give here. So he kind of patrols, goes to check the watchtower, etc. with the Reaper before moving out, and only moves out once the links are overcommitted onto his SCV, because those links are like, where's the Reaper? Did you open Marine? Chase at the SCV, and 3 of them will lose their life for it. So it ends up paying off. Caution pays off for Juanito at the start of this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's playing it very safe. We're gonna go for second barracks. So I guess we're just gonna have a little 2-1-1. I feel like whenever you're the superior player, or you at least feel like you're the superior player, you can always just fall back to a 2-1-1. Because nothing that Zerg does is gonna be very good against Marines and Stim early on. So as long as you have that, even if you fall a little bit behind in a very normal straight-up macro game, I'm sure that Juanito has the confidence that he can always bring it back with just, you know, maybe some drops or some multi-prong. You know, and that's kind of the power of this build. Super safe, and will always get you where you want to be as a Terran.
Yeah, not the classic 2-1-1 here, but he will open with a delayed 2-1-1 of sorts. So Juanito is taking a good economic lead here with the third CC coming down pretty early on as well. And this actually does have some weaknesses. I feel like had Erik gone for some like Roach Ling all-in or something like that, because he's not gonna have medevacs for a while. He did start the CC. But he is at least cautious where he places the CC, right? Like not overly exposed to the Overlord Scout. So it's very difficult for Erik to make any decision to be overly aggressive. There is a Roach Warren though.
Yep, and that Roach Warren is super revealed as the 2 Hellions and the Reaper are right next to it. Nice micro there on both sides. SpeCial actually pulling out all the stops when it comes to juking those links for as long as he could. At this point, he's just like, all right, you go ahead and do your thing. I'm happy where I'm at. I see Stim is 70% done. The moment I've got 2 medevacs and Stim, it's time to play. Then it is important that he doesn't pick up like the first 60 Marines, and right on the moment when they're halfway across the map that a bunch of Zerglings run into his natural. But I'm pretty sure he will keep an eye on anything that Erik could potentially do. Like, only making 2 Hellions is, in a weird way, kind of crazy, right? But I guess he just really doesn't want to bother with the basic units and just wants to get into battle units ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, despite the fact that I said this is a later 2-1-1, it's, you know, hitting just as fast as my 2-1-1 without extra CC. So that's pretty nice. Not 2 full medevacs, however.
Oh yeah, he's missing a couple. Oh, yeah, good economy at home though. He's down 16 workers, so it is kind of important for Juanito to find some success with these initial 12 Marines or so. We're gonna find an Overlord immediately. We're gonna push the creep back a little bit. Nice scan there. Picks up a couple of active creep tumors too. Those roaches are not quite out yet. Now, losing a couple of creep tumors in an Overlord sucks, but we definitely don't want to lose queens or drones. That 4th hatchery feels a little bit ambitious as well, but maybe he can get away with it.
Maybe a lot of creep has been cleared as well.
Yeah.
By this little squad of units. And remember, this is not anywhat overcommitted for Juanito. He already has a 3rd situated and mining, getting 1-1 upgrades. And yeah, I mean, things are looking great for him. Not much has transpired in this game.
Very good job.
He has just played great, yeah.
Very good job in replacing some of those creep tumors immediately, though. He's there with the queens, but he wasn't too focused on trying to chase a medevac that you obviously are never going to kill. Nope, immediately while the fighting was still happening, planted down a couple, so that made sure that the creep would never disappear. If we would be able to protect those creep tumors, we'd be absolutely flying. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. This is a lot of Marines, there's a lot of firepower, even though +1 is not quite done yet. Combat shield is about to finish up, and maybe Erik has played a little bit too greedy, dropping the infestation pit, going for double upgrades, and he's got a lot of stuff going on, but he doesn't have too many roaches where he needs them the most.
Yeah, 72 workers. The medevac's not even gonna be allowed to fall as it gets microed back in the nick of time, and 1 unit at a time is not what you want if you are Erik here. That medevac can still evacuate some of these Marines, but oh my god, he's gonna get a bunch of drones. before even
Queen.
needing to do that.
Oh, I was hoping for the queen from downtown.
That
Steph
would've been
Curry
nice.
with the shot, but not meant to be.
Yeah. Who's a basketball player known to fail?
I actually have no idea, mate. I'm not that.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
must be some analogy there, but yeah, that's the one that we should have referenced here, because I mean Juanito is so far ahead here. Looks pretty over to me. Well, let's see what Erik can do.
I mean, Erik is gonna try to make it up to Hive, but he's also been losing a lot of overlords, by the way. I don't know if that was just unlucky or if that's something that maybe he could work on, but 5 overlords in an 8-minute game. Like, sure, the Marines were everywhere where they were perhaps not supposed to be, but that's just like 2 or 3 overlords too many.
Yeah, and look at Erik. I mean, he's going for a Hive. That is very optimistic. Roaches are just about the best unit that you can make to kind of elongate the game and make it, you know, like close or seem close. But yeah, not gonna work out. Now with these tanks joining in, that's gotta be a little too much here.
He's got a lot of money. If he would be able to spend all of that money and then get a lovely little engagement, I want to say there is a 1% chance. Like, if we can get a couple of banelings from a nice angle, get some good connections. Maybe we can even give up on this base, though. Like, we're already the base at 12 o'clock. Let's just save all the drones. Let's run away the drones right now. Let's not take the fight that makes us lose the game. Let's just go ahead and try to save the base, save the drones. Or at least save the drones and let the base die. I like that thought.
Yeah, I like that. That was a good reevaluation from Erik, right? Like, he tries to attack the army that he sees. And if that was all the army there, it's good. But as soon as the tank shot happens, he says, okay, I'm not going to break through there.
Poor overlords,
so
by the way.
he takes our advice and will go for the repositioning here. This base is already done. Won't lose much mining time. This queen, however, most likely to lose its life, does not get repositioned. And that is super annoying.
Yep. And Liberator making some justice rain from above. It was really unfortunate for Erik right when he lost that base on the right side. 4 overlords popped as well. Bailing connections are really good, though. That means that the tanks are kind of exposed. Erik does find some success, and there's a Ling run by during all of this. I mean, SpeCial still just has a lot of army supply, but Erik definitely getting a couple of little victories on the board here.
Yeah, yeah, that was as good of a sequence as you could expect from Erik, because both things go well. A lot of the time you run the banelings into the army, and while they're microing, your run-by happens, and that's good. So he syncs them up well, but the fact that both connect, right? Like both the baneling and the run-by should have been really good for Erik, but he is still so far behind that it doesn't seem to matter too much to Juan.
Yeah, we did make it all the way up to Adreno Glance now, though. Like, it doesn't matter too much, but if it happens again, then it absolutely matters. Because even look at the upgrades of Erik, too. Like, by no stretch of the imagination is Erik winning this game at the moment. But if we can get one more wombo combo like that, where we trade well in the fight, and we deal a little bit of economic damage, then I become a believer. And I did not promise any tattoos for this one, but we may as well at that point, cats.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get an Erik tattoo if he wins.
Couple of banelings on creep, really good connections. That means that one of the tanks is gonna go down to those corrosive balls. We have a little Ling run by happening, a bit of friendly fire on the Marines with one of the mine shots. Not sure about the Ravager donation though. Those are expensive units. Now the drones are gonna join the mix as well.
Yeah, it seems like those were hotkeyed from the eggs, because there was 2 first and now there's 5, and obviously they were completely useless in the front here. But yeah, I mean, Erik with some miraculous connections, again, whichever god he's praying to, it's working out to a good degree, but he's still 50 supply down.
Yeah, he's hanging in there. 18 banelings right now. Imagine, one move command of Juanito on creep into 18 banelings. There are 4 queens only. That's a bit unfortunate. Like, if he has like 8 or 9 queens, I would actually kind of believe that we can hang in there a little bit longer, and then maybe we can get even some ultras out. Or, I mean, having +2 melee and Adreno Glance is pretty sick, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's extremely unlikely that we see more blunders from Juanito here. He is leaving enough army now for this run-bys. I would love a bunker at this point just to minimize risk. It's going to be a pick-up, and massive.
I saw the 4 GG Widow Mines right there in front of my eyes. Imagine a couple of Widow Mines blowing up 5 medevacs.
Yeah, I mean, the Biles actually connect onto one of the medevacs that wasn't done unloading yet, so he's still hanging on.
Yeah.
More
That
than he has
been the
any
miracle.
right to hang on. Yeah.
That would have been the miracle we need. 3 Widow Mines killing 4 medevacs.
That would have been it.
Yeah.
They got low, right?
Yeah, they definitely they got better than Bruce a little there, but you're not good on. Obviously, Juanito still has a lot of additional units on the map, and at this point, he is just parade pushing towards the top. Takes out another hatchery. There are some
one
Mines in
Baneling.
the mix. One little Baneling. The little Baneling that could.
Yeah, and he could indeed. A lot of these banelings have been really successful for Erik. I mean, every time he finds a little bit of success, the problem is he needs to do so much more, right? Like every time the supply gap is getting bigger and bigger because these little victories are too insignificant to make up for just how much more economy Juan has had.
Yeah, Juan obviously going up to 5 bases during all of this. Those are planetary fortresses as well. So very hard. We do have a few more Marines. Oh, there we go! It's not all of them, but it's at least 2 medevac. Fireworks. Hey, the game is closer now than it was a little while ago, but there are still so many mines on the left side, and that's going to actually just shut that run-by down before it even ever gets started. That started off as a promising run-by. How many Widow Mines does Juanito have? He has 16 Widow Mines on the map.
Yeah, I love that. Against a pureling Bane, I think Widow Mines are just so cost-effective. They require so much attention on the Zerg side of things. Juanito's just trying to split here and make it into a flashy micro of creep, and rightly so. I mean, it's got to be very difficult to find connections with those banelings on the side of Erik. This Widow Mine's very successful, but cannot defend its sensor tower. And regardless, I mean, it's still 63 supply. That's actually less than last time I checked as far as the gap is concerned. So Erik has made some headway.
At one point after those Widow Mines killed 1 or 2 medevacs, it was a little close, but then we set up a big Ling run-by towards the left side, and they ran through like the 7 leftover Widow Mines from before. Yeah, that didn't quite work out. Nice target fire there with the tank, clearly going for the banelings only. Well done by SpeCial.
Very well done. On SpeCial, looking to maybe click these banelings, has to be really careful. Goes up against the wall. Only 1 or 2 Marines will be forfeit there as the Marauder is picked up. His brother did fall.
We are going to get a couple of Vipers out. I mean, Erik obviously desperately needs a 5th base to be playing this style. He's going to run towards the mines again on the left side. Please don't do that. There are so many of them. Checks the run-by potential.
Efforts. He's still fighting, right? Like, he's getting punched really hard, but he's still kind of like whiffing shots at the face of SpeCial.
If you were his coach right now, would you throw in the towel?
Is there another match coming up for Erik?
Yeah, of course. I mean, not today. Not today, but tomorrow.
I'd maybe let him fight, you know?
Yeah, gain some experience.
Yeah.
Power bomb is good. We have a few more banelings trying to get some magical connections with the last few Marines, and Erik will once more hang in there just a little bit longer. Last baneling gets picked up though, but those last few links, these links are super sick. They've got +3 melee and armor and adrenal glands. They are as powerful as a link could ever be. Especially as this one probably wondering like, bruh, it's kind of over, mate. Like, I'm on 5 bases, going up to 6.
Yeah, let's see the kills on this Widow Mines as well, because they've been nasty. 1, 7, 12, 12, 5, 1. Quite the minefield there.
No, we might not even win the fight against those 3 Marines and that 1 leftover Marauder. More Widow Mines coming in. This is obviously not the main army of SpeCial. Who's now doubling the army supply of Erik. Erik having a hard time cleaning up the minefield. There are still a couple of mines there that haven't fired yet. It wasn't too bad. And there is a big army of SpeCial on the right side, and this is an army that unfortunately we can't really deal with anymore. Viper is gonna get sniped as well. I think that's going to do it, but a good effort by Erik though. We said it was gonna be a little more competitive. It was actually pretty damn competitive. It was fun.
Yeah, I like the fight that he put up here. One of those medevacs will die, I think, to Parabomb, but it explodes, and it was one of the full ones as well. So a lot of little things. Erik did manage to make the game chaotic enough that it forced mistakes out of SpeCial, right?
Yeah.
That is a good thing for him. It's promising, but it's still not enough because a lot of the mistakes forced from SpeCial is as well because his macro has been immaculate, right? Like we can't ever really commentate on how well a player is doing to set himself up behind the attacks. It's very difficult to you know, like, appreciate like how many command centers and bases he has been taking while applying this pressure.
Yep, and while also transitioning